Today, I'm going to show you how to take a food product idea with all the information that you need to build a nutrition fact label that is FDA and USDA compliant. We are not going to start with the nutrition fact label. We are going to build a funnel, because when you are creating a nutrition fact label, the nutrition fact label is only accurate as the information that you put in them. Please do not just add a nutrition label on your finished product just because you believe that it will make it look professional. In this video, we are going to talk about building the formula, having your supplier locked in, creating your specification sheet, your batch record, and we're also going to verify the FDA website with all the correct information that you need to have an accurate nutrition fact label. If you're interested, you want to see this video, please keep on watching. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Claude Mart, owner and founder of Le Bon Goût Seasoning, and in this channel I share a lot of small business tips, and I also show you behind the scene on how I package and ship my product and share a lot of small business tips as well. I also share some quick and easy recipe. So if you are into this type of content and you would like to see more, please remember to subscribe to support our channel and help us grow. So in this video, I'm just going to create a dummy recipe. We are going to create a mango habanero recipe. Please, this recipe is not a validated recipe for commercial use. It is only for educational purposes. And I'm also going to show you the Excel workbook that I created and built to have my nutrition fact label. First, let's start with the formula. So in this formula, notice that I didn't write anything like 2 onions here, 1 teaspoon of sugar here, a little bit of mango there. No, for a manufacturing formula, you want something that can be quantified, meaning you want something that can be measured. When you have your formula locked down, you have everything written down, it is easier for you to have a process in place. So first thing to do is to make sure that you document all your ingredients exactly how you are going to use it in the formula. When you are making a new formula for a new product, your equipment matters too, because you want to make sure, let's say you are using a mixer, for example, you want to make sure the size of the mixer can really hold the amount of product that you are making. Let's say that mixer get overheated. You want to make sure that you have a temperature gun or whatever you have to control the temperature, that mixer, you can control the temperature so that you don't overcook the product or overheat the product. You want to make sure that you have good scales in place. And depending on the type of product that you are doing, if you want to do some testing, you can have a pH meter in place, and also the filling equipment that you are going to have. And another thing that is also important, you need to have the container that you are going to put the product in. This is where after you build your formula, then you look at your equipment, all of that matter. You need to know the type of bottle or jar that you are going to put the product in. Can it hold the product? Will the product be safe in there? So the size of the mixer matters too. Let's say business is doing good and now you have to make a new product or you have to make more. You need to know if the size of the mixer, if you upscale that product, if you upscale your formula, can the mixer hold the amount of quantity that you want to produce? And all of these steps that we are talking about, this is how we are building consistency in a good quality product. Now that we have our formula, we have all of our equipment in place, we already just follow all the steps to make the formula. Now we are going to create a specification sheet. So the specification sheet is the parameter that you are setting up for that formula, meaning that you have your specification sheet. Each time you make that formula, you have to verify it against that specification sheet to make sure the formula is consistent. So now for the next step, I really want to talk about this because this is something that small business owners never really think about because they don't think it matters. You need to have consistency for your product. And one of the ways to have that is to make sure that you have a supplier list unlocked. What I mean by having your supplier list is wherever you get your ingredients from, whoever you are getting your ingredients from, you need to make sure that each time you are getting that ingredient, you are getting it from the same supplier. Some supplier, when you buy from them, whether you're getting it in bulk, they usually will give you a specification sheet. They will usually give you the nutrition fact. What I always recommend is each time you are getting that ingredient is to make sure that you review the documents to make sure that they did not change nothing from their process. Because anything that they change from their process not only can affect the outcome of your finished product, and also it's going to affect your nutrition fact. You do not want each time you are making the product that you are creating a new nutrition fact, a new batch record, a new formula. No, you need to have your suppliers unlocked, have that list of suppliers that whenever you are getting that ingredient, you go to that supplier. Another thing that I will also recommend, that it is best to have at least 3 suppliers that have the same raw material, the same ingredients unlocked. If one supplier doesn't have it, then you can go to the next one. You know you are getting the same ingredients, it is the same specification, it is the same nutrition, it is not going to change your end product. So now we are turning that formula into a batch record. You need to understand there is a difference between formula and a batch record. The formula is the ingredient of everything that creates the product. The batch record is the process step of everything that actually happened when you are making that formula. So this is everything that I wanted to show you guys before we open the Excel workbook, because I wanted to show you guys how everything comes together before we can do the calculation to make a nutrition fact. Now that we have all this information, we are not going to build the Excel workbook from scratch. We are going to use ChatGPT to create the calculation for us for the Excel workbook. Now, I want to make this very, very clear. We are not using ChatGPT to do the nutrition label. We are only using ChatGPT to create the Excel workbook and to create the nutrition formatting. All the information that we are putting in that workbook for the calculation will be coming from our ingredients or raw material nutrition label will be coming from the supplier. Now let's go inside the workbook. I want to show you exactly what information we need to enter and how all these pieces eventually come together to create a nutrition fact panel. As you can see, there are different tabs here. We have the USDA converter. We have one for FDA check, which we are going to make sure that we check our formula. And we have the nutrition labels. As you can see right now, they are blank. And I am going to show you guys how you can do all 3 format nutrition label, and I'm going to take you to the FDA website to let you see so that you can know when and where you can use certain type of label, because you don't use a label just because you think that look better on your jar or your product. The FDA said when and how you can use certain type of label. So we are going to do a vertical, a tabular, and a linear. So the good thing about this workbook is when we enter the data, it's going to overpopulate to each cell. So this is tab 1. So I know this one, it looks big, it looks like it's overwhelming, but trust me, it is very easy because each section in here, they do different job. So in the first section in here, this one is my actual recipe. This is where I am going to add my recipe, everything that I use. As you can see, I started adding some in there already. So this is where I'm going to add everything that I use for my recipe. It says in here, recipe I'm going to use, and here it is in unit. And a good thing about this workbook is if you have something in pound, it will convert it into gram for you in here as well. So now, we have in this section where we put everything that we actually use, and also in the recipe as well, it also have the manufacturer serving size. What I mean by that is when you get your product, your raw material from the supplier, and then you have it from the nutrition label, you also have to enter everything from the manufacturer as well. So this is this column as in here. And as you are entering all the information, calculation, like for example, let's say in a nutrition label for the manufacturer only have a serving size. Let's say they have 1 gram of something and you use 700 grams. So now you enter the nutrition label and here all the information of the nutrition label from that supplier, and it calculated for you based on the amount you use. And also that last section right here is going to calculate how much actually goes into your formula. So it's going to give you the calorie, the fat, cholesterol, the sodium, carbs, fiber, the total sugar, any sugar that you added, proteins, and also it's going to give you, the vitamin, calcium, iron, and potassium. So this is everything. It will calculate it for you. So all you have to do, section 1, I'm going back again. Section 1 here, you add your recipe, the amount you use to make your formula. Section 2, you enter the nutrition label of all the ingredients that you use. The section 3 is going to calculate based on the nutrition label of the manufacturer and the amount that you use is going to calculate that. And this section right here is going to tell you how much actually goes in the batch. Like it will calculate it for you to say you use that amount. This is the nutrition label from the manufacturer. Based on the amount that you use, this is what goes in the batch. So as an example right here, I'm going to put one of the ingredients because I don't want the video to be too long, so I'm not going to add everything. That's why I started adding stuff. So the two examples that I'm going to use is I'm going to show you guys how to enter the onions, and I'm also going to show you guys the brown sugar. And the reason why I'm also doing the brown sugar as well is because sometimes the supplier is not going to give you everything in the nutrition label. So let's say, for example, we use 200 grams of onions. So I'm going to put that I use 200 grams in my recipe. So now that we already put the amount used, so it auto calculate here that we added 200 grams of onions in that recipe. So now we are going to add the manufacturing serving size. This is where we have to go to the nutrition label of that manufacturer to see how much is the nutrition fact of that ingredients from the manufacturer. So serving size, as you can see here, serving size, that manufacturer say 1 cup is 85 grams. So to keep everything aligned, we're not going to put 1 cup, we're just going to put 85 grams. So we put 85, and then in unit we put gram. So now it says manufacturing like calorie based on the serving size. What is the calorie? So in here it says 25. We enter 25. So now we're just going to continue enter all the data. Okay, so as you can see, we have brown sugar. So you can see in here, the supplier that we get it from, they did not put everything from their nutrition label. So what we are going to do, we are going to enter the information that we have, then go into the USDA website to get the remaining of information. So now we see brown sugars. Now the USDA usually give all the nutrient information in gram. But the problem is my ingredients from my manufacturer might not always be in gram. So instead of manually recalculating every missing nutrient, I will enter the USDA data per 100 gram information here, and the USDA converter and the Excel workbook will convert that information to the manufacturer serving amount being used in tab 1. I hope that makes sense. So in tab 2 for the FDA check, so this is where I'm going to look up the appropriate FDA food category and RACC, and to determine the appropriate household serving declaration for the product. When we go to that website, which I have the link right here, I'm just going to copy the link and go to the FDA website so that we can find the appropriate category for my product. So for example, one example is the formula we are working on is mango habanero hot sauce. So of course I'm going to go to the FDA website and write hot sauce. So now I'm just going to do Command F, look for hot sauce, and there it is. So now for the product category, the FDA tells us that it is a minor condiment. And here the FDA tells us that the household serving for this hot sauce has to be 1 tablespoon. So what we have to do is take that 1 tablespoon and we have to take the weight so we can know how much 1 tablespoon of that mango habanero hot pepper sauce made weight. So now we're going back in our workbook. In our workbook, we see the product category say that it is in a continent. So the household serving size is 1 teaspoon. So I put it in my workbook. In the FDA tab, you are only putting these 2 information in here. One is the product category and the second is the RACC. the household serving size. Now we are going back in tab 1 to finish entering a data, and that's how the percentage daily value is going to auto calculate. So let's say, for example, the final weight of our formula is 4,000 grams. So I'm just going to put 4,000. So 1 teaspoon per gram, for example, let's say it is 17 grams. And the FDA also tell us that the household serving size is 1 teaspoon. So here I'm going to put 1 teaspoon here. So now it gives you the number of servings in the whole batch, which is 4,000 grams of the whole product that we did the whole mixture on. So it tells you that the weight is 4,000 grams, and it tells you the number of serving that is in that 4,000 grams. So now we need to know how much is going in our bottle based on the bottle that we are going to have, how much servings, and what is the nutrition is going to be like. And this is one thing, you only putting it in tab 1 and it's going to overpopulate in the other tab. So now for our container, let's say we are using a 12-ounce bottle. So I'm going to put 12 ounce here, and this is the measurement as well, if it is 12 and the unit is ounce. So now I'm going to put the weight of the teaspoon that I calculated, which was 17. Immediately, what does the tab tell us? It tells us right here that from a 12-ounce bottle, this is how many servings of the 1 teaspoon that we are going to get from that bottle, which is 72. Let's say, for example, our hot sauce bottle is a 5-ounce, a small bottle. So I want to change this to 5 ounce. So it tells us immediately a 5-ounce hot sauce bottle per teaspoon, it's going to give us 30 serving of that teaspoon. Now that we have everything entered, we go to the FDA check tab and we see that daily percentage value is automatically calculated for us. So this is the vertical of what it looks like. Everything is calculated. It tells us that 1 teaspoon of our mango habanero is 17 grams. It tells us from a 12-ounce bottle it is 72 servings. And it tells us from 1 servings, this is the amount of calorie, and this is the percentage daily value. In our next video, I'm going to show you guys how you can transfer that nutrition label to Canva and put it in your finished product label to have a finished, complete product label design with your nutrition panel in there. So make sure you subscribe, come back so that you can see when I post that video. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.